Okay, so we are going to be doing polynomial division. And our task is find the roots of h of x equal to x cubed plus 2x squared minus 21x plus 18. And we have one clue. X minus 3 is a factor. All right. I'll give you a second to write that down. Now, we're going to start with a little trip down memory lane back to 4th grade. So what if I told you that I wanted you to write a multiplication sentence for 621 divided by 9? So I'm going to take the number 9 and I'm going to divide it into 621. So can 9 go into 6? No. So I'm going to divide 9 into 62. How many times does 9 go into 62? 6. 6 times 9 is 54. I'm going to subtract. 12 minus 4 is 8. And I'm going to bring down the 1. 9 goes into 81. 9 times. So how do I write a multiplication problem? If 621 divided by 9 results in the number 69, how do I write a multiplication problem? So that's 69 times 9 equals 621. Multiplication and division are inverse operations. They undo each other. So anytime you have a division sentence, you can turn it into multiplication. Little bit of vocabulary, so as I'm talking. The number in the house is named the dividend. The number outside of the house is named the divisor. It's the thing that's doing the dividing. The answer to division is called the quotient. Alright, so let's think. This isn't just an algorithm. This is a step-by-step process. And it's a 4-step process. We divide. Right? We said how many times does 9 go into 62? 6. Then we multiply. 6 times 9 is 54. Then we subtracted. 62 minus 54 is 8. And then we did bring down. We brought down the 1. And then we go through the steps all over again. This right here is exactly what we're going to do with the polynomials. It's the same steps. It's just now we're going to have variables. Alright? So, my original problem says find the roots of h of x. And I know that x minus 3 is a factor. That means that x minus 3 multiplied by something equals h of x. I'm trying to find out what that something is. So to find out what that thing is for multiplication, I'm going to do division. slide on down and we're going to set this up. My x minus 3 is my divisor, and I'm going to divide it into x cubed plus 2x squared minus 21x plus 18. Now we just carry out the steps. I look at my first term, x, and I divide it into x cubed. So what I'm thinking over here, and you might write this down or you might be able to do this part in your head. I'm taking x cubed and dividing it by x. So that's x times x times x divided by x. X divided by x is 1. How many x's do I have left? 2. So that's x squared. If you remember your laws of exponents, when you're dividing, you can just subtract the exponents. That's how we get to x squared. So x goes into x cubed, x squared times. Now I'm going to put that x squared up here on the quotient in line with the other x squared. Now I'm going to multiply. I'm going to multiply this x squared times each one of these terms. So x squared times x is x cubed, and x squared times negative 3 is negative 3x squared. Divide, multiply. Next we're going to subtract. This is the trickiest part. We are going to subtract this entire polynomial. You need to put that around parentheses and subtract the whole thing. So x cubed minus x cubed is 0. You can put a 0 there or you can leave a blank space. It's up to you. But 2x squared minus a negative. So in essence, I'm adding this 3x squared, and that's going to be a positive 5x squared. And now I bring down just the next term, negative 21x. Make sure you bring down the sign that's in front with the number. Alright, now I repeat my steps, which is I'm going to take this x and divide it into 5x squared. So again, I've got 5x squared, and I'm dividing it by x. What is that going to be? If you write it out, 5 times x divided by 1 times x, right? 5 divided by 1 is 5. X divided by x is 1, and then you have an x left, right? You're going to get 5x. So that's what I put up here, plus 5x. Now I'm going to multiply. 5x times x makes 5x squared. 5x times negative 3 makes negative 15x. Then I subtract the entire polynomial. 5x squared minus 5x squared is 0. You should always get a 0 here, because this part right here, you want it to come out to 0. That's why you put the 5x there to begin with, right? So that part should always be 0. Now it's negative 21x minus a negative 15, so you're actually adding positive 15. So we're going to have negative 6x. And then we're going to bring down the plus 18. Now we're going to start the steps all over again. I'm taking this x and dividing it into negative 6x. So what I'm thinking is this. Negative 6x divided by x. What does that equal? Just negative 6. So I put that up here in the quotient. Negative 6. then I'm going to multiply. Negative 6 times x is negative 6x. Negative 6 times negative 3 is positive 18. Then I'm subtracting everything. So negative 6x minus a negative 6x is 0. 18 minus 18 is 0. I'm done dividing. So, hooray, I did polynomial division. Well, what does this mean? Well, this means that I can take x minus 3 and I can multiply it by x squared plus 5x minus 6, and that equals my h of x. So my divisor multiplied by my quotient equals my original polynomial. Alright, that's super awesome, because now I can take this. See, this is now only a quadratic. We can factor this. So I'm going to bring down the x minus 3. Now let's factor this into two binomials. I need to get an x squared, right? So I need an x and an x. And I need to get to negative 6. But in the middle I need positive 5. So to get negative 6, one has to be positive and one has to be negative. Inside my parentheses there. But I need higher positives. So can you tell that you need to put a plus 6 here and a minus 1 there? That equals h of x. So then what are my roots? Your roots are your zeros, which are your x-intercepts. So how do I make this factor equal 0? If x is 3, right? How do I make the middle one equal 0? X would be negative 6. How do I make the third factor be 0? X is equal to 1. And with that information, I'd be able to sketch a graph. This one is a cubic function with a positive leading coefficient, so it's going to go up there and down there. And it's going to have roots at negative 6 and positive 1 and positive 3. Right? These are the places it's going to go through the x-axis. So it's going to go up there somewhere, come down, somewhere, go back up. Alright, so now you're going to do this practice problem. Find the roots in sketch. We have x cubed plus 2x squared minus 23x minus 60. And our factor is x plus 4. So if you're watching this on video, I want you to pause the video and try this on your... Alright, so when you divided, you should have gotten x squared minus 2x minus 15. This is the answer to the division. Then your next step is to factor this. And you get x plus 4 times x minus 5 times x plus 3. The next thing we're going to do is find our zeros. And then we're going to graph. So what do we know about the graph? We know the x-intercepts. And because it's an odd function with a positive leading coefficient, that tells us that as x approaches infinity, we're approaching infinity. And as x approaches negative infinity, we're going towards negative infinity. So the graph looks something like that. Again, is it exactly like that? No. I really don't know what my relative max and min are. It could just as easily be that green graph as the blue one, but it's going to have that general shape. Alright? Okay. So the first two that we did